someone who thinks, well, my marriage has been in winter for years. But the idea that can change, that that's a season, that if we begin to do the right things, that the season can change. Because sometimes we can look at the whole and just write off our marriage, saying we made the wrong choice, or there's no hope. There's always hope, and it's a season. Even if it's been a season of years, that we can start sowing those seeds and turning up the temperature and doing the things that begin to bring the change. That there's hope.
Gary Chapman, great to hear from him, and what a fabulous metaphor kind of for marriage are these 4 seasons of marriage: winter, spring, summer, fall. We're with Mike and Diane, Dan and Danielle, and we're gonna chew on this for a little bit here in the kitchen, because we want to, as he said, stay in spring and summer. You know, spring, you kind of think usually of newlyweds, you know, kind of that spring, everything's new and just budding and springing up and excitement and all that. But how do you kind of stay in the spring and summer? He had some good points there, didn't he? You know?
I know, it's difficult to think of how you could just live your life on a daily basis and stay in spring. I mean, because life happens. You have good days, you have bad days, but I think what he's saying is we need to overall develop good habits with our spouse, so that when we have a bad day, we don't stay there and allow things to kind of get cold and frigid and, you know, die, but to kind of bounce back and say, no, we're not going to stay there. We're going to let's spring to spring. Hey, see how I did that?
There's interesting, because there are cold days in spring, right? They are, right? So in springtime and in summertime, you know, we have rainy days that are tough days, and inclement weather, thunderstorms sometimes in the summertime. But we can get in that season where, although it's storming, you know, we still have there's still some control here.
That's it.
Good point.
That's good.
I like the analogy of seasons, because seasons change, and there's seasons in life in general, and I think we appreciate some seasons, particularly here in Canada, where the seasons are very defined. We appreciate some seasons more because of other seasons, and I can't help but watch this, and I'm thinking of someone who thinks, well, my marriage has been in winter for years. But the idea that can change, that that's a season, that if we begin to do the right things, that the season can change. Because sometimes we can look at the whole and just write off our marriage, saying we made the wrong choice, or there's no hope. There's always hope, and it's a season. Even if it's been a season of years, that we can start sowing those seeds and turning up the temperature and doing the things that begin to bring the change. That there's hope to get back to spring, hope to get to summer.
What I hear you saying is, look back to when you did have spring in your life, what in your marriage, what were those seeds, what were those things that were there, because they're probably still under the surface. They might be buried under a blanket of snow.
Need to be watered.
But they need to be dug up and cultivated and watered.
Putting some effort into it, because normally when we're thinking weather-wise, you're in the winter, you think, oh, can't wait for summer, and you just kind of wait.
Yeah,
and
you wait.
You don't have to
That's
do
true.
anything,
That's
you know,
true.
but it's not the same with this, because if you want to get to summer, you got to do something different. You got to get to spring and summer, and so effort.
I think there's a greater reality for some people that it's been mostly winter, you know, especially in young marriages, right? Sometimes, and they never really have gotten going. But he gives really practical tips here to help you to facilitate moving forward. I know there are a lot of things that Diane's good at that I'm not so good at, and she's learned to embrace those and help me and cheer me on rather than beat me up with those things, right?
But the one thing that hit me in this segment was when he said, listen to each other. Just listen to each other. And there's a, I don't know if you realize this, babe, but Michael's watching some TED Talks. Was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. And I was in the kitchen doing what I do, but I'm listening to whoever was speaking. And the one thing that she said was, most of us don't listen with the intent to understand, but we listen with the intent to reply.
I love actually what he says there. Don't sit there and load your gun. I'm like, oh, what a great way to say it. You're talking, but I'm not really listening. I'm like, I'm packing my muskets. Finish talking, because I'm almost done here. Now, here's what I think.
Trying to think, what's my comeback? What am I going to say next? Instead of just listen to me. Hear what I'm saying. Feel my emotion. Feel everything that I'm saying to you, so that we can talk about it, right? Don't listen and just, okay, I got my comeback. I'm ready. I'm ready. Right? So when you say, did you hear me? You're like, huh?
And more to that point, she even said those things that are going through your head, those responses are useless. Let them go. Just let them pass, right? Don't try to remember that response.
Yeah.
Do the listening.
Be in the moment.
And that will spurn what should come next.
Like
right?
that.
Not
I
just
like
the
that.
listening. I noticed a common thread through all of those things that Dr. Chapman was talking about is selfless. Being selfless. When you listen, when you cheer your spouse on and help them succeed and all those things, a mature couple has to be a selfless one and put the other one first. And I noticed that was something through all of those things. Yeah.
And I like when he said, learn to listen empathetically. So you're actually, like you said, you're not listening to respond, but you're in the moment, you're hearing what they're saying, you're putting yourself in their shoes. What are they going through? You know, that must be really tough. Instead of, yeah, well, you make it hard on me too, buddy, you know. But really say, you know, honey, I know sometimes I run late, and I know that really frustrates you. And I'm so real life situation.
You want to get into that here? we could go there.
But you know, no, really.
Yeah.
Instead of having my comeback and say, well, if you gave me more time.
Yes.
But say, I'm sorry. I know that's really hard for you, that it's a pet peeve, and I'll try to do better. I think if we just organized our lives a little bit better, maybe we wouldn't have that ongoing stress or whatever. But just really to learn to listen empathetically.
And to forgive the past. You mentioned that too, not to keep bringing up the failures. I know there's been, it's a wall. And there's been times where maybe I have felt like I'm not only dealing with the moment, but I'm dealing with all the mistakes I've made in the last however many years. And like there has to be some forgiveness because I can't, I don't have a time machine. We can't change those things, right? But we got to move forward. But if we're just stuck at you did this. Yes, I did. But
This is so good.
And
This
speaking
is
of
so good.
moving forward, stay with us and we'll move forward into some more great teaching and we'll be back here in the kitchen with the guys and the gals.
I always try to remember to put the toilet seat down. See, and when Danielle squeezed my hand, that doesn't always mean I love you. Shut up, shut up, shut up.